Our life change story. This is a big part of what we do at Church at the Center, and it is live life change stories, live testimonies. We can't wait to hear Tommy's. Bring it, brother.
Red light's on. Hello? There we go. All right, I'm gonna sit down. Really have no idea what to say. I guess start a little bit about my history. I grew up in Methodist church when I was young. Got involved in the youth group and stuff. Had a pretty strong faith. Pretty much all around. Did all kinds of activities and things, and had a good life growing up. And as I got into high school, I started conforming to all these other groups of people. And that's when I guess my chemical use began. Started smoking pot and getting into pain medications. Oxycontin came around, and when I first did that, I told myself that was the way I wanted to feel the rest of my life. And that's pretty much how it was for, at least 4 or 5 years. I used to play in the church and praise band back when I was younger, growing up in high school, and the further I got into my drug addiction, it took me away from that. It's kind of crazy the things that have happened in my life. I've been through, I can't even count how many treatment centers I've gone through, and, just wasn't willing to do what was needed to, stay clean. I would go into treatment, sometimes forced to go into treatment, and all right, well, I'll figure out how to do it better this time. I'll get this, I'll get my family off my back. I'll get, I'll go in to get my relationship back. Or it was never for myself. And, the spirituality part, I had totally lost that. I thought God had abandoned me, and really, I abandoned Him. He was always there with me. And, so through the age of, I got a late start. So I started using at 19, and then became an IV drug user, and about 5 years ago. And once that hit, it was on from there. Methamphetamines, heroin, oxy, all that stuff. Anything you could put in front of me, I would take it, and I could never have enough of what it was. This summer, things started getting really bad for me again, and I could always white knuckle my recovery for a little bit, and I would go to meetings and then start getting complacent with my recovery. The better my life started building up, I would stop going to my meetings because I was my own God, and I didn't think I needed God to help me get through the things I was doing. And then slowly but surely I would work my way back into my addiction, start hanging around those old using friends, selling drugs. Just thought those were my friends, those business associates, whatever. Those are the only people I felt comfortable around, the people that could party as hard as I wanted to party. And, so this summer, things had gotten really crazy for me. The further I got into speed, the worse. Everything just went downhill from when I started using that stuff. A couple months ago, I would say I was about 145 pounds or so, and hallucinating, seeing people in the trees, and life was just horrible. I think everybody around me were cops, just so paranoid. It was insane. So, let's see, about 3 months ago, I went to, what's it called? It's Freeway Ministries. One night, I had been up, like 5-6 days, and my dad drugged me to Freeway Ministries. And I was sitting in there and seeing people in the ceilings, and thought the feds were there wearing these camouflage predator-looking suits watching me, and it was insane. I think at that time I was finally just ready to stop, and I'd had enough. I'd taken myself, my family, my girlfriend, everybody I knew. I lost all my friends through my drug addiction, and took them, all the people I loved the most, I hurt the most. And I think that time, I went up to John Stroop, the preacher up there at Freeway after that service, and I asked him to pray with me. And he was like, "Are you willing to go into a treatment center?" And I was like, "Yeah." I really felt truly done. And so I went in through Clarity, and I've been through all these treatment centers, those ones that just so many, and I thought I knew, I had all the knowledge, but just not the willingness, and especially not the spiritual aspect of it. I never grasped that. And so I stuck it out the 21 days through Clarity. And that was a pretty rough detox for me. There's many times I wanted to leave. I had friends right down the street I could have left and went and got high. And the preacher told me, he was like, if you think about doing that, what are you running to and what are you running from? And I just kept that in my mind. And I started getting into reading some spiritual books. And just right prior to that, I'd gone to the hospital, and I was just out of my mind from being up for so many days. I was in psychosis, and I was sitting there looking at all these people. They look happy, and I was like, I want that happiness. And I just asked God to show me a sign. And so I got picked up from St. John's, stayed at Victory Mission that night, because I didn't have anywhere else to go. And I wake up in the morning, and I'm walking down the street, and there's that NA meeting right there on Division or Commercial. I can't remember which. And I caught the end of it. Just for today. That's it. Yep. And so I walk in that meeting, and the guy speaking at that point in time was my roommate. He's actually from here, but we were roommates in a treatment center out in California. And that was the following morning for me asking God to show me this sign, and I was blown away. This guy was just totally insane when I had last seen him 3 or 4 years ago. And I walk in, and he's speaking all these, words of wisdom and working his program. He's clean, he's happy, and I was blown away by that. And that gave me that extra oomph I needed to go into that treatment. And as time went on there, I read my spiritual books every day. Things started coming along, and then moved over into New Beginnings treatment center, or sober living. And I acquired a job, and I started going to church. And man, I tell you what, that first week or two getting out of treatment and being back into the real life aspect, my mind went insane. I had so many crazy thoughts going through my head, and things were just nuts. And but I got to the point to where I couldn't live with drugs, and I couldn't live without them. I'm either one of those people that I'm not a functioning addict, is what you call it. I can't work a job, have a life, and do that at the same time as using. It's either I'm all in using, and that's all I'm about, and I will do whatever I have to do to get that. And when I got started working, and it started giving me a sense of fulfillment. I was feeling I isolated myself for months at a time. That's all I would do. Go pick up my dope, come home, put it in my arm, and sit there and play video games. That's what I did for months on end. I didn't want to be around people. I was scared of people. And didn't want any part of God, really. I thought I was my own God. Literally, I thought demons were inside of me at that time. And they probably were. But, so as I'm at this sober living house, we're asked to come here and do some community service. And so I was like, all right, I'm down. And I came up here and I have a lot of anxiety problems. Being around people makes me really anxious. And so I was like praying to God. I was like, why do you have me here right now? And then I noticed I just shot in the wind. I seen this drum set up here, and I was like, do you guys have a drummer? And you maybe need a fit-in drummer or something? And they're like, actually, our guy just left last week. We need somebody. And so I got started playing drums here. And so for the last 5 or 6 weeks, that's what I've been doing here. And it's somewhere about a month and a half ago, I had this psychic change or something. I don't know what it was. I kept praying to God, every time I would get clean, I would still have the obsessions to use and remember all these good times, which really, when I think back of it, there were no good times out of it. There was maybe a little piece of it, but 9 years of pain and misery, being chained down to the ground by a substance. And I just couldn't take it anymore. And I woke up and it was like something had happened. God had done something for me. Because now, every time I think back about all that stuff, I think about how horrible it was. The people that I hurt, just how hopeless and helpless I felt inside. I was just tired of feeling that way, and I knew there was something better out there, and I should be dead 1,000 times over. And I knew God has saved me for a better purpose than what I was doing, because I should either be dead or in prison right now. And I know that God was looking out for me. Getting involved in this church has been the biggest blessing I could have ever asked for. Getting to know Mark and Jake, these guys here, meeting these people that are good people and involved in church, and they're living good lives, and along with going to my AA meetings and stuff like that, I couldn't ask for a better life today. Today I have a good relationship with my family. I got my relationship back with the most beautiful girl in the world. God has just done everything for me in my life today, and I'm just amazed by it. And that's all I got. So.
All right. Well, at times in the Wesleyan theology and the Methodist Church, we don't re-baptize. Another aspect of our baptism theology is that it doesn't need to be redone. It doesn't. We don't need to do redos. But it is very much a practice for us to renew, remember, reflect, recommit, and look back on our baptism. And so that's what we're going to do for Tommy here today. And we're going to give him an opportunity before God's people to remember and renew his baptism and make a recommitment to Christ. So I just want to do that now and I'll ask you all to support him in that. Tommy, do you recommit your life to follow Jesus Christ?
I do.
Put your whole trust in his grace. Yeah. Commit to use your gifts to reach the world with his message. All right, Tommy. Holy Spirit, work within you, that being born of the water and the Spirit, you may now live as a faithful follower of Jesus Christ.